Hello, dear Mindfulness Collective. This right here, right now, is the joy of being a live stream coming to you live from Brooklyn, New York. And if you're just joining us here, lovely to have you. If it's your first time here, welcome. If it's not your first time here, welcome. Folks, very excited to be here with you today. And before we begin, let's hit up in the chat here and find out where folks are coming from. Where on earth are you, folks? Where, damn nabbit? Black Skulls Meriden is in NYC, up in Harlem, if I remember correctly. And Black Skulls. I forget if you told me your direct name. I know that last stream Denny told me their name, and I believe that they were in New Orleans, if I'm correct. 613 coming to us from Northern California. Lovely. Hopefully you're safe and sound up there. Wait, Black Skulls Mortem is Denny. Wait, I feel like I'm confused. Okay, thank you for reminding me that the big introduction to Denny was last stream. Thank you for that helpful reminder. Folks, we're going to have a little whining chorus for a little bit with the puppy, and then she'll chill right out. So forgive me, but this is part of the training. You just got to listen to it. Julia, it's funny it says Julius. Julia, tuning in from Vienna, Austria. Lovely to see you here. Thank you so much for joining us. Rory, good morning from chilly Kingston, Ontario. Lovely to have you here. It's chilly here too. Hopefully our puppy chills right out. This shouldn't take too long, I hope. If not, we'll put a little blanket over her puppy cage, so hopefully it doesn't bother us too much. Folks, what else? Where are folks coming from? Today's a pretty exciting day. Today's a big deal. It is the day before the election in the United States. If you're watching this live, if you're watching this on playback, then you have more information than we do. Welcome from the past. I hope that all of my, so much of what we do is worry about the future, so hopefully you've got that handled. Good afternoon from Great Britain 2020. Good to see you. Great to see you with us. Great to have you here. Today we're going to be discussing election obsession and tools to use to manage that, and along with meditation. So let me know the challenges that have been arising for you, because they're going to be different for different people. Some people will just be thinking about it too much, worrying about it too much. Some people will feel, senses of obligation or any of these different variety of things. So let me know what's coming up for you, and it'll help me help me pick how to structure the meditation itself. If anyone here is new, either to meditation in general or new to the channel, let us know, because that will also affect how we guide the meditation itself. Sometimes if people are new, they don't want to say, I'm new, and structure the meditation for me, but it's one of those things where it's worth it if you're willing to do it. So, folks, welcome. Monday morning. I'm like, is today Monday even? I feel like it's like I helped somebody move this weekend, so it feels very, like the weekend never happened kind of thing. Plus, I had my disguise for Halloween. I don't know if you can tell, it's still me back here. And P.S., what I discovered was, in fact, this is a double costume, because it has this one and it has the other one. This one. I think this is the one I should go with. So what if the stream was just this, like you tuned in and I'm like, hey, we're gonna learn about meditation. This is what's up. Hopefully everyone else still has their mask on from yesterday, from the American Halloween. Is Halloween celebrated, like folks who are out of far away, folks who are in Great Britain and all over, coming to us from Vienna, etc. Is Halloween like a thing, or is there just sort of a different version of it that's like completely culturally not what we're talking about? I'd be very curious about that. Let me know. Tell me the truth. Okay, folks. So we're going to be practicing for 25 minutes. If you've never practiced for that long, I'm guessing most people have here, but if you haven't, listen. I understand it can sound daunting, but trust me, you're going to be in great shape. You're going to have a good time. You'll come out the other end a new person. Hello, Tomalin, I think joining us from India. Welcome. Glad that you're here with us. Okay, folks. So if you haven't meditated for 25 minutes, here's a little spiel you've heard me say before. Find a nice, comfortable position that you can maintain for the duration of the practice without moving at all. We do this by finding a way to sit at the edge of the cushion. So if our knees are going this way, we sit at the edge so the knees can rock down. This allows the, I'm just turned around here, this allows the lower spine to curve a little bit, the upper spine to curve a little bit. That way we're not trying to like over straighten the upper spine. We're just sort of finding a balance here, which is excellent. And you can move. You're allowed to move under two circumstances. One, if overwhelm starts creeping in, if it gets to even like a 3, you want to like make whatever adjustment you need to, even stopping the meditation, and a 3 out of 10. And also, if you just want to move because it's too distracting, go ahead and do so. Just wait a minute or so, maybe a few breath cycles, and then make the movement very slowly. And with that, unless somebody suddenly tells me that they're brand new to meditation, we will begin. Excellent, fun times. Okay, so folks, find that nice, comfortable position. And when you're ready, we will begin. If your house is on fire, 3. Tomlin, I think I'm missing part of this message. So it just says 3 if your house is on fire. So hopefully that is not a description. So we're just going to transition. Okay. And we'll begin. Beginning by taking a few comfortable deep breaths and just feeling the body rise and fall. Either allowing the eyes to close or allowing the eyes to rest on a single point. Physically relaxing the body. It can be helpful to know that we can physically relax the body more than we can even physically feel. So even if it feels like we're already relaxed, just to keep going. And anytime we enter a meditation, there are various forces that push and pull our attention and awareness. This is what we call the momentum of previous moments. So if we find that we are easily distracted in this moment, pulled away from the sensations of the body by sounds, mental images, thoughts, this kind of thing, this is because it's likely the mind has been doing something similar for some time. And so distractions are not a problem. They're just nature. So beginning to attend to all of the body sensations together, one large collection of a variety of sensations. And this includes emotion. So as you can tell, my environment has some extra audio. A puppy struggling to live the life of a puppy. And we are much like this. We struggle to live the life of a human. And so if sensations or distractions are bothering us at any time, we can tune into the experience of the emotion in the body that signals this, the liking or disliking. The wanting and not wanting. These aren't bad. They're just parts of nature. So while the task is to stay with the overall experience of the body, just staying with a collection of all body sensations, whatever is noticeable at this time. This is a task which we know will at times fail. And this is natural. This is not our failure. How could we hold the mind in a way that would stay with the sensations of the body? Not so tight that we're agitated, not so loose that we get sleepy and foggy. The obsessive mind is one that can't let go. And so we don't ask the mind to obsess on the sensations of the body. We soak in, we luxuriate, we discover what these sensations are now. Recognizing that these sensations are unique. Never before have we detected these sensations in this moment. And of course, at times we'll become distracted, drift away. And the process simply starts again. Feeling the sensations of the body. Recognizing that this is an experience we've never had before, not these sensations in this moment. Letting go of the part of the mind that says that this has happened before. This is familiar. And as we begin to slowly stabilize the mind, you can feel like other sensations, thoughts, or sounds in this case, that these are a kind of enemy. And in this way, the mind cultivates a kind of obsession, a kind of revulsion to things that distract. So in this case, we're going to take a different tact, a different position. So for a moment, let's take in all sensation, not just the body, but a snapshot of everything we can detect at this moment. And things that feel out of place, or they feel like they don't belong, or are annoying. Being sure to include these, as well as the part of us that feels annoyed or wants things to be different. We want to include craving and aversion as part of nature. For just a moment, taking in all sensation in this way. Not fighting anything that arises, any seeing, hearing, or feeling. And if the part of us that fights it arises, not fighting that, there's the part resisting. It's not a problem. Just nature. And if it's arising strongly, simply staying with that part that wants something to be different. Welcoming it. giving it understanding. Of course you want something to be different. That's the nature of the body-mind, is at times it wants. It tells us if we get what we want, we'll be free. It's as though there's a puppy within us, whining for a world to be different. And that's not bad. That's nature. So this time we're simply observing our overall sense experience. And if we find some part of us that wants our experience to be different, some part of us that if it had a magic wand and could change some detail of this moment, that it would use that magic wand, the part that wants change. And simply allowing that part, being with that part, not trying to get it to accept. In this way, accepting the natural non-acceptance that arises within us. If we cannot accept, accepting that we cannot accept. If we cannot do this, accepting that we cannot do this. At times the system wants. But wanting doesn't care if we're happy. It just wants. And we are either within within the wanting. The wanting is us. We are with the wanting, seeing it as part of nature. Not always the most comfortable part. But still just another expression of an ordinary human body-mind. And for a moment now, considering ourselves moving through, navigating through our lives, just going about our daily activities, noticing all the pushing and pulling of wanting and not wanting. Wanting to get somewhere. This is natural. Wanting to eat something, consume some tasty beverage. Wanting things that another part of us does not want. Eating things or doing things, scrolling through things we would prefer not to. And recognizing that all of these cravings, all of this aversion is nature. It doesn't mean we have to follow these urges, but it doesn't mean we have to get rid of them either. Once again, deeply feeling the body. Precisely what does this body feel like right now? Looking for answers that come in the form of body sensation. And checking, is this different than when we began? Maybe so, maybe not. Perhaps it's the same, perhaps it's more difficult. Or perhaps it's simply easier to stay with these sensations despite the various distractions, despite various wants or desires. Of course, there is this puppy within us. But we don't gain anything by being harsh or judging this puppy. Sometimes it's best to ignore it, of course. we say this part of us shouldn't whine at times, shouldn't crave, shouldn't want things to be different, we fall into the trap. This is more aversion. This is more craving. This is simply aversion to craving. So for a moment, loving the craving, loving the aversion that occurs within the system. Just because something feels discordant doesn't mean it's not part of the same chorus. Of this rich audio tapestry of human experiencing, of our senses showing us untold detail about this particular moment. And staying with the practice, staying in stillness, allowing a tiny bit of light to enter the eyes. Eventually allowing the eyes to rest on a single point that is neither text or some kind of screen. And feeling the momentum of the practice. And as we mix this part of the practice here with the eyes open, with our ordinary world full of desires and discord, seeing that this is our opportunity, this particular moment is our chance to meet the great teacher. These sensations which show us how we might bring this practice into every aspect of our life. Okay, that was interesting. So what was that experience like? A little surprise from the puppy, but hopefully we did the thing which is ideal, which is to take the challenge and turn it into the path. That is, for me, the goal of any advanced meditation practice. There's a Stoic concept of the idea that I forget the exact wording, but that the challenge or the difficulty is the path, is the freedom. So what was that experience like? What happened and what do you like now? What's mildly, I think the dog lives a pretty generally happy life. So it's like, but that, I feel like I so identify with that, that, wanting. So there's that. What was that experience like? What happened and what are you like now? What was it like for you, 613? What was it like for Eugene in upstate New York, or Denny? What happened? Julia, Rory, 2020 CL, Tomalin. What on earth just occurred? Let me know. I'll answer some questions. We'll have a little fun. Maybe talk about working with obsessive thoughts. So that's part of the theme that we're going to be diving into. I don't want to talk about it too much because usually as soon as I start talking, people stop writing their reports. Denny says, I felt... I have to remember because I thought somehow Denny was not Black Skulls Martin, but Merton. But okay, anyway, I felt this vibration across the whole body, almost felt like a physical shimmering. Interesting. Okay, great. Is that what you mean by the sensations always changing? It is one example, 100%. So that shimmering that you're detecting, it's not always easy to detect, or it might not be there, noticeably at all. And it's a lovely thing to tune into because it can feel very pleasant. It can feel very unique. Most people have some degree of this, but that is a great aspect of ordinary human experiencing that can be really fun to tune into and feel very pleasurable and therefore very motivating because it feels unique and new and feels novel, although all of our experience, all of our sensing is extremely novel if we tune into it enough. So that's great. That's very interesting. So that's one example of sensation always changing. Another one is the fact any sensation you look at, what I'll do is ask people to take a sensation and make a kind of freeze frame. Like imagine this is exactly, you try to learn this sensation exactly as it is right now. And what you'll notice, it's very hard because it feels like, the sensation of my voice, like pinpoint a point in my voice and pin it and really soak into that sensation, like really my voice as it appears, just hold it. And you'll notice that you can't hold on to my voice because it keeps changing, it keeps moving. In the same way, if you hold on to really pinpoint the sensations of the left hand, a moment later, the mind will be pulled to the sound of a puppy, wanting to play around, to come and chew on all the items in our house. So it's not only just that the sensations change, but the mind which knows it changes. So again, a lot of the awakening material, it's hard for people to get until you experience it, but we're talking about first-person perspective experiencing. This is phenomenology. So from the perspective of the experiencer, there's no difference there's no difference between the sensation changed or the mind moved and came back. That was a change. It's experientially from this perspective, from the viewer's perspective, it is different. So that's part of it also. This is a little extension of what you're describing. Curio Wizard, welcome. I don't think we've met here before. Welcome. Haha, I've got 3 dogs at home, so that wasn't much different from a normal meditation. Well, okay, excellent. Well, there you go. You've developed this particular skill. But I think the metaphor of the internal whining puppy was I hadn't thought of that before, and that was fun because that's what it feels like. Is there's these parts of us like, oh, I need the candy bar, or whatever it is. 2020 CL says puppies whining made that more intense. So okay, we have the opposite report here, and normalized craving. Excellent. And it's also a nice way to externalize it because I think we can connect with the whining emotionally. It's not just like a sound, like a whistle going off, right? It's like if you right now pretend that you're making that sound, or you go ahead and make it externally right now, you can feel all of the tension and it's like this pent up thing, which we're often feeling all the time. Coming out of the meditation is a bit like feeling recalibrated. Well, that's lovely. I love the idea of meditation as recalibration. In its best times, that's what it feels like. Sometimes it feels more like you come out and you're just the whining puppy, but that's understandable. Excellent. What else? What else came up for folks? And welcome, Curio Wizard. Curio, is this your first time here? Because I don't remember seeing you here. So as people begin to second time, well, listen, we didn't get to welcome you the first time, I don't think, so we have a very special way of welcoming folks who it's their first time here. Thank you so much, folks who've been here before and know this routine already. So welcome, great to see you here as always, and lovely to have you here in our little community. Thank you again. And folks who've been here for a while, And of course, if you've been here before, if you haven't been here before, just so you know, when somebody's new, we just flood them with some emojis just to say hello and welcome. And especially if they're brand new to meditation, that is a big one. Okay, so one thing real quick is the following. If you want to chat voice style, there's a Zoom here. You can jump on. Just let me know that you're jumping on so I'll know you're there. Bye, dear. Wife is leaving. Great to see you. Thanks for joining. Thanks for being here. Oh, that's so sweet. I love when the community jumps in. Okay, so as we begin to jump in here, okay, so talking a little bit about election obsession. There's a few different parts to this. So hopefully, Curio, you feel welcomed with emojis. So there's a few different parts here to the election obsession. Let's separate out. Do we have a Discord? Yes, we do. If you ever want to know what it is, !D, we'll give you a link for our Discord. That is our Discord. I do very well, thank you. Great. So related to the election, I want to talk about this. There's a few different concerns. One concern is the most fundamental underneath all of them, I think, and that is a valid concern for safety, a valid concern for security, all the basic needs that human beings have, a valid concern for a sense of normalcy or stability, these kind of things. So what I'm going to first, I want to separate that out because there are a lot of people who really have a lot of hardship because of the current political situation. There's a lot of people who are in a lot of danger, or in the same range as that is people who realize that things could get very dangerous very soon. So something happened to a neighbor of ours. She's a woman from Spain, and she was at she's at a restaurant nearby. Now we're in Brooklyn, so it was just very surprising. This is just not part of our local atmosphere. And a gentleman jumped up and was like, "I'm sick and tired of hearing people like you go back to your country," and just is yelling at her on the street. And also, I don't think wearing a mask and yelling, which is really not advised as far as COVID transfer. And so he's yelling at her. So, and it's just very weird in New York. It's a very open and lots of different cultures, and for someone to do that here feels very weird. So there's people who either feel like they're truly under actual threat, and there's people who feel like the threat could escalate at any time. So I want to separate that stuff out because I think that has different implications. That's really a lot of that is how do we stay safe? How do we, what do we do? And on the doing side, I think this actually gets to the first point, which is we can do things. We can actually take actions which will affect and help the world. We can support those who might be less fortunate than us, or might be in a worse position than us, and just see how they're doing. We don't have to make a big deal of it, but we can just check in with people who we might not think oh, maybe this person is having a hard time. I have friends who are trans. I have friends who are people of color. I've lots of folks who might otherwise just we might just think oh, my life is sort of plodding along. We're all locked in our houses. This is it's unlikely, but checking in, supporting those folks is one thing. Another thing is actually taking action related to the election if you're so moved to do that. The thing that I've been most willing to do is make small donations all throughout the time that we've been here. Raquel's been writing letters. I've been doing a few other things, but not as much as I'd like. I wished I had done phone banking the whole time, this kind of thing, but I just somehow wasn't able to do it. So doing things, direct action. Now keep in mind, they will need donations into and after the election. It does not end at the election because there's going to be a lot of court stuff probably. There's going to be a lot of different things happening. So action can be taken. The other side of that, though, is to right-size our experience. Because the mind is used to picking out the most dangerous and most scary and most threatening possible detail, my mind goes to the news. Some crazy thing happened in the news and someone's being crazy, and in a way it's to obsess about this thing that happened to my neighbor, worrying about that, going outside, looking around, is everybody like this? This is happening all the time. That's the obsessive mind, and it's not useful. It's useful where it's useful. It's useful I need to take my dog out, or I need to do something, etc. But If that's not the case, we know it's the case, the dog is fully fed, dog's fully been to the bathroom, I don't need to do anything about this. Actually, it's to be ignored. And it's a skill because the dog keeps whining. And this is part of her puppy training, is that she needs to know that there's times when she just has to hang out in her crate. Even though she has plenty to do, she still has to just hang out in her crate. So she has to learn to entertain herself. And the metaphor there is sometimes we do not worry about the things that we need to actually, we don't take action. We're not trying to take action. What dog is it? It's our dog Sela, which I'll bring her out in a little while. I don't want to reward her for the whining. That's right now is the case. So we can take action. We can not take action, not pay attention to. And honestly, I was talking to a class about this recently, potentially not even paying attention to the news. It might actually be better. It's worth considering when I look, especially Twitter. Twitter is one of the worst ones, at least for me. How do I feel after I do it? Okay, so one thing I really like doing is catching up on the news, seeing what's happening in the morning. I read an email that's by Politico called Playbook. It's very good, nice rundown of everything that's happened, all the news, and some implications. I like following politics. So, but the thing is, I'm looking now, how do I feel after I do that? How do I feel? I stopped using Twitter because I realize every time I use it, I feel worse after I use it. So the question is, looking in, how much do I actually want to do this activity? How much does this actually help me? And that's a huge skill, is actually looking what things bring me peace, which things do not, and starting to try to cultivate those things, especially when we get to the level of thought. Certain thoughts drive me crazy. If I worry about X, Y, and Z, it will make me sick in the stomach. And so it's my job to not worry about those things. And as easy as that might sound, it is not easy, and it might also be not a luxury that some people have. But as much as I can is to cultivate myself to not be obsessed with those things. That's one side. The other side is actually just the meditation side. To actually practice and teach the system to stay with sensations is teaching the same part of my mind that will become obsessed about things, that it doesn't need to become obsessed. Just staying with that and staying with that over and over again. Today, what we talked about was recognizing that craving and aversion is not our enemy. We don't need to stop wanting or not wanting, ignore the world. That's one way to go, and we can gain equanimity skills by doing that. But we can also gain equanimity skills by watching the system crave and cling and want and not want, and just watching it occur and say, yes, of course you're going to do that. That's a natural experience, and letting that happen. That can actually be very relieving. And then finally, the big one, these are the big guns, is that human beings, by their nature, by their physiology, by their biology, they are not built to handle difficult emotions alone. They're not really built to handle anything alone. They're really built to be communal. That is the nature of late stage mammal development, is that they are communal in their nature, and our emotional system is built to externalize and to share emotion. So our biology, its development, is basically, it hasn't really moved very much since we were all living on a plane, gathering food. So it's helpful to recognize that what we're really built to do is to be in a small group, maybe 20 people, and every tragedy is a group tragedy, every success is a group success, and to know this group of people very deeply in order to survive. Survival is dependent on us being together, sharing resources, connecting with each other. But this is also very much true for emotion. And so in this challenging time, check in on other people. Often one of the best ways to regulate our own emotion is to call someone else and say, hey, how are you? How are you doing? What's going on? How's life? I know things sounded really hard recently. What could we do to, be helpful, whatever, just to talk to people. And that's often very regulating for ourselves. Often we have the sense of, I need someone to hear what's going on for me, and then I'll feel relief, which is true. And it can also be the case that we can get what we need through listening to somebody else. So that's just my general spread of things to do. In summary, don't eat the hot potato when it's too hot. meaning like don't do things that are going to harm you if you know they're going to harm you, and be skillful about that. Do things that would be helpful for you, including contacting other people, connecting with those we love, taking action that could actually be helpful. And remember that we're not meant to do this alone, and that there are vulnerable people out there that we maybe even know. So to contact them and see how they're doing and connect. This is part of why the virus time is so dangerous, because it's so isolating and because it's so alienating. And so it's up to us to counter that with our own gravitational energy, our own obligation to making the world a better place, to having sila, which is the term for morality. Curio says, a little off topic, but is your mind clear when you're giving guided meditation? So that's a great question. And let me answer that. Actually, you know what I'm going to do is, just for 1 second, if you let me pause, I want to let the dog out because she's being quiet right now, and that's when I want to reward. 1 second. If you want to see the dog, I'll bring her over. Whoops. Good quiet, yes. Good quiet, Stila. You're quiet, yes. Good girl, yes. Good quiet. Come. Good girl. Yes. Good girl. She was quiet. She's so squirmy. What a little squirmy wormy. Hello. Look at the little squirmy wormy. Hello, everybody. She's gonna she somehow, whenever I get on that stream, she squirms like crazy. Yeah, what a cutie booty. Hi, little dear. Hi. Hello. Say hi to everybody. We both have the same beard. You were very quiet. That was good. You helped in the meditation, Sila. Did you know that? You helped all these people here meditate. You helped with a metaphor. Meditating metaphor. She's very proud of the metaphor she helped create. She wants to let you know. Mwah! Okay, baby. Time to talk. Do you want to say anything? You want to snuffle into this microphone? No? Okay. She's quiet today. Okay. Excellent. Oh, but she wants to play. She wants to be near me. Okay, so let's answer your question. Yeah, she's a real sweetie. Is my mind clear when I guide a meditation? The mind is just the mind, and clear. So often what people describe as the mind being clear is free of thought, but usually what they're describing is a very limited definition of thought. The way that I define thought comes from Shinzen, our teacher, our friend and teacher Shinzen, and the description that I give is, or the way that I describe it, is a few things. One is mental audio, mental visual experience, and attention and awareness. He doesn't talk about that so much, but those are sort of activities the mind will do. So when you say, is the mind clear, it's hard to say what you mean. Do you mean, is there no mental audio? Well, no, I have to narrate the meditation itself, and normal distracting audio arises. The mind blah, blah, blahs at times. Is there, times when the mind is very quiet? Oh, absolutely. The mind will be stone quiet, like freakishly quiet at certain times. But that happens. It comes and goes. Is the mind free of mental imagery? Well, usually not. Most of the time, because I have a really expanded definition. What I mean by mental imagery, it's not just memory, planning, and fantasy. It's also, my eyes are closed right now, and I can still have a sense of that there's a microphone here and a screen there, and all these things. I can tell that there's a puppy over here, and the mind can see all these things. It can just tell. So that's also mental imagery. So do I have it in a way? It's like, would a clear mind mean that I've lost the XYZ axis that tends to orient all of my experience? Well, no, that's still quite there. And then, is there attention and awareness? Is that stable? Sometimes that's what people mean when they say a clear mind. And sometimes yes, sometimes no. Sometimes it is, sometimes it isn't. Often when you hear me guide a meditation, I'm guiding what is occurring to me. And sometimes what that means is that if I say, sometimes you get distracted, sometimes I've gotten distracted. Other times that I almost get distracted. The system, I can feel it drifting towards unconsciousness. Okay, sometimes we become unconscious, sometimes we, et cetera, et cetera. It's funny, I just heard myself go into guiding voice because I use a voice that is soothing to me. And plus I have a frog in my throat suddenly. Excuse me. It's funny because when we do a microphone check, I go right into it and we're like, oh, blah, 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 blah. Beginning by, it's just funny. It's like the radio voice. In a world where squirrels can talk, one man and a dog, this summer, Anthony Hopkins and Queen Latifah join you for the ultimate summer romp. Tifa 2. The Queen is back. Okay. Does it flow, or are you thinking about what you're saying? It's both. And what I experience is that thinking is flow. Thinking and experience. I mean, my experience, which I can describe. Oh no, ask tons of questions. That's great. Ask a million questions. That's like what we're here for, is ask questions. And a lot of people are just hanging back because they hear other people asking pretty good questions, so they're not asking, but totally fine. So my experience is the puppy is really, really like playing with me, like biting my hands and stuff. It really wants to play. Nope. The puppy thinks that socks are dog toys. It really, really thinks that, and it always wonders, why is it that I have dog toys on my feet, but I won't, like, I'm walking around, teasing her with these dog toys. So, okay, going back to your question, does it flow? Okay, so my experience, I'll just describe briefly my experience right now. So my experience is I can feel the experience of a self forming and navigating a world. I can experience the volition that feels associated with that self, moving the body slightly and sort of initiating this flow of ideas that are coming out. I'm not in control of those ideas. I'm not in control of what is being said in the ordinary sense of control, but I can observe the system triggering certain things that allow the voice to be made, allow these things to sort of to make a sense, and there's a sense of what sense would be, and the system is just sort of bouncing these things off now and then. As I'm here experiencing you, I'm experiencing the sort of flow and data of time, the sense of things moving forward, this sort of imagined pressure of things moving through. Spatially, there's this sort of like kind of jellyfish constellation that is denser towards what I experience as the center of my experiencing, and then it's sort of putting together and assembling the visual data of this space, and all of this is sort of piecing these parts together, holding your experience in my mind and piecing together an idea set, a sort of concept explanation, so that maybe a translation of my sensory experience can be translated through words. That's what's occurring for me right now. That's basically exactly what occurs when I'm guiding a meditation, is just raw sense data organizing itself in weird ways and observing that, and then trying to express that to other people. Usually I'm guiding what I'm experiencing. That's basically usually what's happening, with some acknowledgement and understanding of what other people are experiencing at that time. Denny says, sometimes when I get especially deep in meditation, I start to lose a sense of the size and quality of external space. Okay, great. Is that a common experience? Yes, that is a common experience. And in fact, it's a very common experience, and often people experience it as a problem or scary, or like, oh my God, it felt like sometimes proportion of the body will feel very weird. People will say, like, my head feels like it's on the ceiling and my body feels like it's, my hands feel, often people will report their hands feel really big, and that's, I think, in part because the hands have so many nerve endings in them. Or they'll report, it felt like the body was dissolving and suddenly they got hit with fear, because it's like, where's the body? Where's the stability I'm used to? A sense of space, a sense of merging, inside and outside start to break down. There's the sense that, like, there is no, the center is sort of breaking down or going away. If you want to drive that experience a little further, you might, as that starts to happen, because usually what happens is that something like that starts to happen and we notice it, so the system sort of reorients it and stabilizes and grips everything. If you can notice either the gripping or the sort of de-gripping that you're describing. The puppy is being so cute. I wish you could see the puppy, because she's like standing on hind legs, biting my hand. But you can't, so I'm just going to pick you up and show them your face again, because that's all that we get for the live stream. This is the face of the puppy. No, what a little snooper. Hello. Hi. I think about her mind, like what the experience is like from her mind. It's like when I do mind states guided meditation and have people try to recognize that their view of reality is a view, which is a big insight for people. They usually don't realize that. They think that their view of reality is the view. It's like the truth. Sometimes I'll like have people like think about like what is the world like from the experience of this dog at this moment. And it seems like sort of silly, but it's really like it's very simple in a way. You know, the dog's experience is just like probably a much clearer mind than we are describing. It's probably very reactive, responsive to its environment. Probably definitely they don't have the linguistic part of the mind. They do have the emotive part of the mind, and that's why we can identify with dogs and stuff. Because right now she's in a pretty like intense emotional experience before compared to the whining, but she's just navigating by emotion. Imagine there were no words and it was just like feelings and sensations, and it's like, do I like this? Do I not like this? And she's pretty neutral right now, so it's a neutral emotional experience, which is hard to usually notice if you don't know emotional experience. But she's just like, and that's her emotion right now. Hello. Oh, you want to talk? Is this on? Hello? Sela, no. Oh, no. Oh, Sela. Oh. She's very violent sometimes. Oops. She is so good at getting caught in cords, boy. I'll tell you that much. Okay. We were talking about something very serious here. Okay, the breakdown of space. Yeah, that's a very common experience. So if you want to expand that, that's what I was talking about, is notice that there is usually when that is starting to happen, there's still the sense that there is an observer. There's a center from which it is being observed, and let that part be included. Because in a way, it's like we look at the world through the binoculars and we're looking at all these things, we're looking, and we never zoom back far enough to recognize like there is this sense of something or someone observing, and that is also just sense data pushing and pulling. So that can be a cool way to break that down. 2020 CL says, loved hearing about your perspective during guiding. Oh, excellent. That's love. I'm glad to hear that. That's, I asked Shinzen, I actually got him to do it for a few seconds in a video that I made. If you search Shinzen AMA on YouTube, if anyone has the link, that'd be great. If you search Shinzen AMA on YouTube, it's a video we made. And in that, at some point, and it's in the time code, so you can go and just skip to it if you want. There's a bunch of really good stuff in that video. It took me forever to get him to do it. There's like 7 takes because he just didn't understand what I was asking. I was like, can you describe your perceptual experience right now? And he's like, oh, if I were to describe it, I would probably be experiencing like, some seeing, I'd maybe be experiencing. And I was like, no, not what you maybe would be experiencing. Like, describe your sense experience now. And what are you chewing on? What do you got? We have to like, I can't believe this stuff she finds in her house. It's like, how did you find a weird, like, I don't know, she's chewing on all this weird stuff. Finally, I got him to do it, and I was trying to convince him. I was like, listen, this might sound really boring to you, like you describing your sense experience very, just endlessly. But I was like, you could just do a whole talk where all you do is just, this is what is happening sensorially. This is what is happening sensorially. And talk for 20 minutes or an hour if you wanted. But like, I would be so fascinated just to watch that occur because it's very powerful, actually. It's like out loud labeling in this way. He had a hard time. The thing he had a hard time with was he would just go into his system and he's like, oh, okay, you want me to just label out loud, see, hear, feel, see? And I was like, no, like don't use any words from your system, but describe the senses that are occurring. So anyway, I got him to do it. And there's like a few seconds of that in that video. Okay, folks, any other questions, curiosities, interests, opportunities, difficulties, any of that stuff? Okay, folks, very excited. We're going to be back right here in fewer than 72 hours. You know what I want to do today? This is a little different. So we usually have a nice little... okay, here's this question. Question coming up. Boop, boop. Do you have any advice for building equanimity with unexpected, surprising sensations? Okay, so... And this is how I answer the question if I haven't done it a bunch of times. So unexpected, surprising sensations. I think my biggest suggestion would be to treat them as natural. It is natural that unexpected sensation, like the dog barking, right? It's natural that that's going to happen. It's natural the system's not going to like it. So you don't even have to accept and be like, oh, I should like this. This is unexpected, that kind of thing. It's to notice the system was surprised. Oh, look at the surprise. There it is. Surprise, of course. That's natural. Surprise is natural. To expand, like the unexpected makes it hard to train with those intentionally. Well, that's what I mean. That's exactly it. So, like today, instead of saying I'm going to accept the dog barking or whining, or I'm going to ignore the dog barking and whining, we did something different, which was let's look at the part of us that is not accepting it. Let's look at the part of us that is pushing it away and doesn't like it. That is often one of the best things we can possibly do, is look at the reaction. Shinzen calls this recycling the reaction. That's a broader term, which means whatever is happening that seems like a distraction, quote unquote, to what is she biting on? See that? Leave it. She's chewing the carpet. Whatever seems like a distraction, include it in the meditation. So make it part of the practice that we're doing. Now, this doesn't work very well if we're just watching the breath, because it's hard to include, the sound of a dog barking in the breath. Maybe you can notice the difference, but usually not. But if you have a broader meditation and you're including seeing, hearing, and feeling, no, there is no such thing as a distraction anymore. Everything can fit within a practice. So that's part of the reason why I like a practice like that, is because you can practice continuously all the time, and you can practice in a way where there is no such thing as a distraction. So what I would suggest is, don't worry about the experience, worry or attend to the surprise that arises. How do you know experientially that you were surprised? Where is that in the body? Is the mind suddenly more active? It's moving quicker, it's bouncing around, it's, any of these things. Or if that's too much and that's too abstract, just be kind to yourself and just come back to the meditation object. I was surprised, now I'm coming back. Oh, surprised again, and I'm coming back. So you can just, without pushing it away, just pretend that it didn't happen, and you just come right back. So those are a couple suggestions. So folks, we're going to try something a little different here. We still have 8 people. For fun, there's something on Twitch called a raid, and it's where you take the folks from at the end of your live stream and you deliver them to somebody else who's having a live stream, and they can see that they were just raided, and people get to go visit someone else that we like and that kind of thing. So I'm gonna make a wish for you guys. I'm not gonna roll the outro music, which if that's really disappointing, let me know. But the wish for you is, at this moment right now, this is our best shot, is to notice that most of our experience we can take in no problem, as this is not a problem. Then there's parts of us that want things to be different. This is often why the body moves. This is why we blink. We want, the reason we blink is because it hurts to not blink. The reason we breathe is because it hurts to not breathe in and it hurts to not breathe out. So it makes the system just keep breathing. So notice that now there are things that you can accept easily, and then there are experiences that are hard to accept, or the system pushes and pulls against, and that is natural. It's normal for the system to push and pull against reality. We just don't want to get caught in that where we can't choose, and the system is pushing and pulling, and we're just along for the ride. We want to have some degree of ability to navigate that. So my wish for you is, in this moment, to just have that possibility that is the case. So folks, what I want to do, and I've never done this before, I've never rated someone else, so what I'm going to do here is, who is in my list? Oh man, no one in my list is. Oh wait, this Jack Dyer's live. Okay, we're gonna jump over to a live stream that is one of my faves. It's very silly. It's this artist named Jack Dyer, and he is he is an artist. Whatever, he's an artist, and he has a live stream that is called A Jar of Peanut Butter. And it is just a live stream of a jar of peanut butter. And what we're going to do is we're going to deliver ourselves over here. If I can figure out how to do it, that's like the next big question is, how do I do that? Channel producer, creator dashboard. Okay, Tomlin, if you know how to do this, let me know. I mean, you could just search this thing, but I want to raid this guy. That would be fun. I think it's a nice thing. We were raided, but what's the next instance of raid? I don't know how to raid somebody. Okay, well, this is the kind of thing you want to figure out before you do it. Content preferences. Tomlin, if you know how to do this, let me know in the chat. This is not something I know how to do at this moment. Okay, well, maybe... Oh, here we go. Raid channel. Got it. Sila. You got to go down. You can't have my hand using the mouse. Raid a channel. Oh, here we go. Oops. Actually, oh, wait, I want to do this one. This is a great sound channel. Check out Jack Dyer, Jar of Peanut Butter. This is a great sound channel. I like these folks a lot, so we're going to raid this channel. All right, here we go, folks. We're transitioning over to Check Me Out. Great sound person. I really like their sound meditations. Here we go. Folks, great to see you. We see you in less than 24 hours right back here. All right, let's raid this sucker.